Hey there, welcome to episode 429 of the Find Your Food Voice podcast. Today, my team and I are here to give you a bittersweet announcement. Let's get to it. Hey there, welcome to Find Your Food Voice. I'm Julie Duffy Dillon, and I'm with the fabulous Rachel Popik and Coleen Bremner.
Hi.
Hey, team. We are here with a very important special announcement, and I'm already getting verklempt, to quote Saturday Night Live from my 1990s days. Are you all having any feelings? Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm having big feelings. I'm having lots of sadness feelings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm still riding the feeling wave myself.
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to put all our years of individual psychotherapy into this episode. All of our therapists are going to be like, good job. We are here because we are celebrating 10 years of Find Your Food Voice and Love Food, but also this is going to be our last few episodes. So, and before we were recording this episode, I was like, I remember concretely thinking this may be kind of hard to record. But then when we push record, I was like, oh, here they are. Yeah. Here are all the feels.
Yeah, here they are.
Yeah. But so yeah, listener, we want to share with you some like reasons why. I'm going to try to get through it without like totally having a cracky voice the whole time, but like whatever. But yeah, so what we have decided is that Find Your Food Voice will continue to record until April. And I want to tell you a little bit about why. And then after we go through why, we're going to share a little bit about some things that we're going to take with us, and then just next steps, just so you're aware of, how we're going to conclude this. And this is a big deal for us to make sure that we're totally transparent. Like, we didn't want to just like end the podcast and be like, see ya, or do like a ghosting. We're like, no, we can't do that. That's why this is like a long goodbye for us. But I wanted to share a little bit why, because, you guys have been very supportive of me, the two of you, but also like this was something that ultimately I decided, and it was a hard decision, but I feel like it's definitely the right one for many reasons. But one thing I wanted to mention is, when I started this 10 years ago, which, think about this for a second, 10 years ago, we didn't know Trump would ever be president, which I just is like, God, the bliss.
Yeah.
We had no idea. To go back to that ignorance. But 10 years ago, I was seeing clients one-on-one. I think of it as a clinician. I was like in the trenches all the time with folks. And, you guys see my setup now in this like garage thing. But before, I used to record my episodes in my office that I would see my clients, and it was like between sessions. I would like be like, oh, I have 30 minutes between sessions, so let me do this. And sometimes you could hear a doorbell go off, and Toby would like take it out, but that was like my next client coming in. But the thing that I loved about recording these episodes over the years is like there was this like amazing like energy exchange. Like, I would see a client and they would be like, oh, I listened to your episode this week, and they would tell me what they got from it, and I was like, oh, that's great, I'm not someone that's like motivated by money very much. I don't know, I'm not someone that's like has like a money goal or anything. I'm like, I got enough, it's fine. But that kind of like feedback of like, oh, I'm getting this from an episode was like, I felt rich. Like, that felt so great. And then when we started to do more online courses and memberships, and that's when the two of you kind of came into my circle, it was the same thing. Like, I was not seeing clients, but people in the courses were like, this is what we're getting from the episode. And that was awesome. Right. And same, I had like an amazing energy exchange. And from there, as I started to see less clients, I was doing more one-on-one work with clinicians, and the same thing. They would say, hey, like one of my favorite things that I hear from clinicians is that like listening to Find Your Food Voice or Love Food was where they first heard about intuitive eating, or that they could be a clinician to help people with intuitive eating, or it helped them recover from their own eating disorder because they felt too ashamed to go to a dietitian too. Things like that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that this helped. And again, great energy exchange. But then we all know what's happened to the online space. And also the podcasting space has changed so much, because when I started in 2016, there was Food Psych and Nutrition Matters. You know, we got Christy Harrison and Paige Smathers. Those are two dietitian colleagues. The three of us were like the only nutrition podcast that was like anti-diet work. So we had lots of people listening. And now, because I'm not a celebrity and the three of us just don't pull things, right? I think like we don't get as many people listening, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like what kept me going for years and years was that like energy exchange, and we just don't have that anymore because of Amy Poehler. She is great at podcasts, but you know,
congrats on your Golden Globe, by the way.
So it's a different space. And you know, something else I've been really transparent about is like having chronic pain has been something that's made it really hard to like see clients and stuff like that. So it's also made things like this, like looking at a computer screen is hard when I have migraines. That's been hard, but also so it's been hard to do things where I can have that energy exchange. Like I don't have as much like one-on-one work to provide for that. And then the other thing is going through a divorce has helped me be a lot better at making changes and not be as scared of change. Not that I recommend divorce, although I mean, if you're in a shitty marriage, I mean, even not a shitty one, I just meh. I highly recommend. And yeah, so I'm like, I could tell that in the last probably year or so that it was starting to be time, as we were really coming to terms that this podcast was ending. You know, the three of us, we were like, wait a second, we gonna miss talking and connecting and having this like resource to help us with our own experiences. So let's talk about this part. Coleen, can you take it from here?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, when Julie told us the first time, I must have like blacked out. Like I definitely did not register what she was saying, and I was like, yeah, sure. And like then she told us again, like not too long ago, and I was listening and I was like, wait, I don't think the first time you told us I registered that this was, what do you mean? What? And then she was like, so I've just decided that it's time to end the seasons of Find Your Food Voice as we move into the next season. And I was like, oh, I'm really sad. Like, and I like started like crying, like, and like, big feelings. And just not, I mean, I'm so excited obviously for the next chapter. Like I know that this is the right move for Julie, and she's making the right move for herself and for this team. But of course, like she said, you know, it's been a really wonderful journey for me. Rachel is the one who showed me, at that time it was called Love Food, a while back.
Do you remember what year it was?
I think 2018, I want to say, Rachel, or 2019.
Okay. Well, it was probably early 2018.
Yeah, okay. And I remember
we were in grad school.
Yes, we were in grad school, and I was like already on my journey, and I was kind of like dragging Rachel along, I feel like. And then
your non-diet journey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then she was like, hey, I found this like amazing podcast. And same thing, it was like kind of the wild, wild west, like frontier world of anti-diet culture. And I was like, oh, I'm so on board with this. Like, I love it. I loved Julie's like energy, just the way that she was able to voice all these things that I had felt and never heard out loud from other people. Like I felt like I was alone in my own journey. And so it was just something like I really needed at the time. And then fast forward, there was this advertisement or this call on the podcast for a virtual assistant, essentially. And I think Rachel also was like, you should apply for that.
Yeah.
I was like,
look at that. That's so great.
I don't know. Like, what are the chances? Like, she's so, in my mind, I was like, she's so famous. Like, she's never gonna
Which is
hire me.
hysterical because people say that to me all the time. And I was like, I just want to let you know that like, I don't know, like, again, I'm not motivated by money, but like, there's no money in this. Like,
Right. So in my mind, I thought you were like a millionaire, like making making huge podcasting decisions, like had a studio agency. Like, I did not realize like what was behind the curtain was Julie Duffy Dillon.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm just
she
juggling
herself and her.
Right.
And yeah, maybe Toby at the time, or
Yeah,
but,
Toby did edit for a long
and
time.
Yelly at some point, because Yelly
Yes,
and I
because you and Yelly started at the same
together.
time.
Yes.
Which was funny because I was only looking for one assistant.
Yeah.
And you and Yelly both, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no. Can I make both of you work? And then like a few months later, Rachel joined us too.
Yeah. So I think just seeing the full journey, like for not only myself, but for this team and how this team has grown, and like Rachel and I being so interwoven in that together, it's just been like very kismet and very cool, and has always felt right. So oh man, I'm gonna tear up. So to have to close the chapter on this one, it feels big, but I'm very grateful. Big. I'm very grateful. So I'll pass it to Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, I think like as Coleen said, she kind of started me on my anti-diet journey, like maybe a little bit kicking and screaming at the beginning, but like
I love
finding the Love Food podcast. And I think, I mean, hearing Julie and also like putting myself back there, remembering like feeling just like Julie has such a like soothing voice, like such a comforting, tender voice. And that in and of itself, Julie was like really like felt a little bit like being held and supported.
Aww.
But I think also the format and hearing not only like you as an expert, but being able to hear stories and experiences of other people who were also struggling was so huge for me at the time. Like recognizing like I'm not alone. These struggles are struggles that so many other people have, like was so helpful for me to kind of not like I had Coleen in person and we were like each other's cheerleaders, but realizing like it's not just me and Coleen in this. Like we have so many other people supporting us, and like if it wasn't for this podcast, like I still would probably have an eating disorder and like would just be a lot more unhealthy and miserable than I am now. And like yeah. And then to like have the experience of, you know, being able to join the team and work with you and pivot from that being so foundational to hopefully being able to like share our stories and our conversations. And I mean, they're a place for me to process a lot of things that I still experience. So like personally, they're really impactful still to this day, but also knowing how important it was for me to hear other people's stories and then have the platform to share my stories and like hopefully help other people has just been, it's been incredible.
Yeah. Oh, you know, the thing that like hearing that makes me so happy in a sense, even though like I know a lot of what you just told me, like that is really hard, but also like my whole intention with the podcast was when I would sit with clients, they would talk about this shame and isolation and feeling like the only one struggling. And the more that a person stepped out of that shame and like put the blame where it needed to go, which was on all these oppressive systems, and then connected with folks that saw them, right? You know, whether it was like their doctor or a parent or a friend or just like someone who could see them as a whole person. That's when I saw people like just becoming themselves, right? And so that was the whole intention behind this podcast. I was like, we need to like tell their stories, because we're all struggling with like the same fucking thing, right? And we all feel so alone and ashamed, but we can't. If we're all feeling alone, then we're not alone. like right? So and that's something that I'm so grateful for in this process, is like having connection as a part of it. Thinking about all these folks who didn't know me, didn't know us, and trusted us with these letters, like that has always blown me away. Like that just is incredible. And like, but I think that's why this show is able to do that, is because because of me just talking, that doesn't provide the same. Like you said, Rachel, like we need people to share their lived experience, so then people can understand like, oh, there is a way to move forward. And that's something that I'm hoping that we can all remember. Like as like the world changes, like there are bits we can take with us and hold on to, and recreate, maybe. I don't know. So
yeah. So I guess it sounds like, and I'm going to recap a little bit here. There's a lot to, consider and be grateful for, but it sounds like a big part of that is just the vulnerability and trust of so many of you and us, right? Like it's a collective experience of sharing and feeling that trust to be able to share, and knowing that someone's story, and I mean, the number of times that we've read your email or share, I've read emails from sharing my own personal experience in the inbox, and just all those different pieces. Even if you haven't ever written an email in, it's like we kind of know, like if you're listening, we like know. That's just really, really beautiful. And so as we think about, our changing seasons and, staying grounded, creating new connections, thinking about, what's potentially next and how we're moving through this, do you want to share, maybe Julie, we can start with you, how you're going to stay grounded and, continue to create space for these types of conversations?
Oh, yes. The thing that I've learned the most over the last few years, as I've like, why am I getting upset again? Oh my gosh, my voice is already wavering. This is more of a gratitude voice cracking. But as I've gone through changes in my personal life, something that became really obvious to me is that community is so important. Woo! I'm going to do my little dance to help me get through it. So even when you feel alone, there's always people there. And reminding myself of that has been really important. And I'm going to continue to seek out community. And I think that's the big thing that I learned, is like sometimes community is there when I need it, but sometimes I need to seek it out. And I've gotten better at that. Thank you, therapist, for helping me with that. But my community, I want to just continue to like a garden. I just want to keep like helping it grow and have different communities. And the three of us has felt like its own kind of community. And then like when we're making this podcast and then anything else we're making together, it feels like a part of a community. And while I think podcasting, especially as an independent podcaster, I don't know, this may sound like total like killing the vibe, but like I just think independent podcasting is not the same, and maybe it'll come back around, but it isn't. And so right now, finding the space or the place to have that community is kind of the next thing I want to do. Is like, okay, I just need to plant another place and see where it grows. And of course, I'm on Substack right now. That seems to be something that has created more community. But I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. So I think for me, it's like continuing to seek and build. And as for the grounding, though, while we've been recording, Doug has been going bananas in my backyard, because how dare these birds sit on these trees. Uh, and so I don't know if you've heard him bark. But as much of an a-hole he can be, he's very grounding to me, because when I'm writing, I tend to write for a certain period of time, and after I'm done, I go walk him, and there's like certain times during the day where I go walk, and that's where community kind of intersects with it, because I always see the same people walking, and um, so I love that so much. And the other thing that's helping me to stay grounded is trying to also continue to like learn new things. And there's something about my 40s where I kind of lost sight of that, where I was like, just so like, I know, not that I know everything, but I'm like, I don't need to know anything new,
Yeah.
And yeah, no. So I'm enjoying learning new things. Like, of course, I'm trying to learn Spanish, which is hilarious. Coleen, you should try to talk to me in Spanish at some point, and you'll see. Like, I was talking to Jorge's nephews, and they're like 2 and 4, and I was like, these are my Spanish speakers that I can talk with.
Yeah, honestly, talking to kids is the best way to learn a language.
They didn't know what the hell I was saying.
That's okay. You were practicing.
I could understand them, but they could not understand me. So yeah, I think that's part of what I'm seeing moving forward, is like staying connected and grounded with like my animal, and then like wanting to continue to build community and different types of community to help me to continue to grow as a human. So there's that.
I love that. What about
Thank you,
Rachel?
I mean, a little bit, I'm going to say the same thing. I think I, this year, have decided that I really want to put in, I mean, I have in the past, but like really, really work on building community this year, and like making connections with new people and with my neighbors and my friends, and just like spending more time with other people, not on my phone, not dissociating by like binging TV, but like really making those human to human connections. And I mean, for me, that's so generative. And I also think it's like a really powerful tool to like fight fascism,
Yeah.
Like it just, I think building community is just so, so important, and brings me so much joy. And so I think also in talking about how the podcast has kind of allowed me and others a place for vulnerability, bringing that same energy into connections with other people.
Yes.
I think it's huge, and it's going to help me through this transition.
Beautiful.
What about you, Coleen?
I love it. I just big fan of community too. I am really focusing on, and this is, coming not only from this change, but also just some personal things happening in my life, with different family members, and, some things that are happening just in my own family, like my own, family unit. And I'm really focusing on regulating myself. So just like understanding that sometimes like I need to either hum or sing. That's a way that I can kind of expend energy in a way that feels good and helps me kind of relax. Sighing, shaking out my arms, just moving that energy in some way. And recognizing that, not everything is an urgent decision, and really trying to consciously slow myself down. I think, in this season of life for me, being a relatively new mom, I just feel so much immense pressure from a variety of different places. It's so funny that all three of us are going to say our phones, trying to like not be on our phones so much. And there's something to that, like, because a lot of that external pressure, sometimes it can feel like it's coming from what we see others doing. And so I will actually purposely, like when I start to feel myself getting kind of frantic, I will sit down, sit myself down, and like remind myself that, I'm safe. Like I'm that is like a grounding technique for myself. And recognizing that, you know, this is a different season of life for me and I have a different capacity to give, and it is not going to look like what it was before I was a mom. And the people that are in my life now will either understand that or they won't. And I have to kind of like come to terms with that on my own.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, you know, there's any ill will towards anybody, but more just like saying I'm giving myself permission and them permission to do what, you know, we all kind of need to do. I'm also really trying to practice the pause. So, you know, before I'm definitely a yes sayer. So before I say yes to just anything, really trying to think about what it is that I want and what's the best move for me or my family. So rather than saying yes right away, saying, you know, something like, can I think about that for a little bit? Because there's a lot of
Yes.
power in that too. So,
Yes.
yeah, adding to this, like being in bed before 10 p.m. is like a non-negotiable for me. I
Yes.
really need my sleep. So,
And you're an early riser.
I'm an early riser.
I'm surprised you're up that late.
Yeah. Yeah, I say 10. I'm usually in bed around 9.
Okay.
But like
Good.
I like to be like asleep. My eyes are closed before 10. And reframing is also helpful for me. So just, you know, not asking questions like what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me as a mother, but asking more, what do I need to do right now? What do I need right
Yes.
now? It's a very different nervous system response. So just trying to think about, you know, the kind of grace that I give myself. So, you know, lowering the bar a little bit and without guilt.
Throw that bar away. What the fuck with the bar?
So yeah, I would say, you know, in any season of life or wherever you are, you know, bare minimum is enough when you're surviving and burnt out. And if anyone is surviving in the days like today in 2026, that's pretty much all of us. So yeah.
Yes, the urgency, the like saying yes to everything. I mean, those are all things that like fascism wants us to partake in. And I think that's part of why I was able to like being more aware of those kinds of things, the systems impacting my actions is part of why I think I was ready to say goodbye to the podcast, because there was so much like just keep doing it. It's providing this, but also the thing that I appreciate is while we'll close down this podcast, there are so many people doing amazing podcasts and creating content that can do this too.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of people who have this, and we need more. So yeah, we'll make room for more.
I want to throw this out there because this is like piggybacking off of what Coleen said. But last week, my therapist asked me this question that's still like continually blowing my mind. She said, what would your life look like if you were the most important person to yourself? And I've like asked myself, like going into a lot of situations in this past week, like when I kind of feel pressure to say yes or do something, like I pause and I ask myself that. And it's been really blowing my mind in how I would react differently than my like default.
So if you all get that before you're 50, like me, then your life is going to be so much better. I just want to say that. Like, you don't have to go through all the bullshit and like and things that I think, because a lot of us, especially those socialized as women, I think it takes a lot of shit and like a lot of breaking and getting to the point where you're not well for a long time, i.e. migraine, to get to that point to do that. So yeah. So choosing yourself is actually like super radical and contributes to amazing things. So yeah. I love when therapists ask us questions like that. Yeah. And I'm like, motherfucker, why did you ask that question?
Damn it.
I'm literally speechless. I can't add anything because I'm still reeling.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, this is where I kind of feel like an older sister or like a mama bear to the two of you. But I'm like, let yourself sit with it and like let the discomfort just swirl, because it's going to take you to some really great things. Yeah.
Well,
So what's next? Coleen,
Julie,
lead us.
that
What
was
are
my question to you.
Tell us what's next,
Great
Julie.
segue.
Lead us.
Shit, I gotta have my shit together. No, I'm just kidding. Well, let's make sure the listener knows what's next. Like, let's talk about logistics.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now we're doing 2 episodes a month, and the plan, because we say it like that because, you know, we can change
Plan,
things around.
question.
Part of the plan, to be transparent, is one of my kids is graduating high school. And which is crazy because she was 7 when I started this podcast.
Wow.
And my other one was 3. And so I want to be available. And those of you who have school age kids or did at some point, you know, May is just bananas. It's just a bananas time. And so I was like, I need to be done with the podcast before then.
Mm-hmm.
I have other projects that I'm working on that I'm not ready to like announce yet, but Coleen and Rachel know about them. So there's other things that I'm working on, right? So I need to make space. So what I'm trying to tell you is April will be the last episode. And we would love for you to be a part of it. The 3 of us have gotten people's communication about how the show has impacted them. And you've heard from the 3 of us how the show has impacted us. So we would love for you to be a part of this last episode where you can let us know, you know, maybe like how you started listening, how it impacted you. Are you a clinician and it impacted your work? What did you learn? Anything you want to share? And we would love to have our last episode include your voice, just like we've had for every episode, like having the letters to food. We would love to have your voice, like literally, like if you would send us a voice note that you record on your phone and just email it to us. Or if you don't want to leave a voice note, even just sending us an email. And if you're wondering how to do that, of course, in the show notes below, we will have that. But you can send the email, whether it's an email or a voice note, to info@juliedillonrd.com. You can also get to it on the contact form on the website, julieduffydillon.com. Yeah, we would love to make this last episode just like wrap everything up like in a tidy bow. I'm not a Stranger Things watcher, but like my kids are, and I was not with them on New Year's Day when they were watching them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, the ending!" They were like talking about how it like concluded everything, and my oldest was like, "It was like they put it in a box with a big bow." It was just, and so let's do this for Find Your Food Voice. Like let's finish the show with including your voice, listener. Anything else we want to add?
Oh, we're excited for this long farewell. I'm so
Yes.
grateful that we're having this conversation now. You, listener, are able to kind of digest and process, I guess, like we have, because it took us some time too. And now we'll get to all process together, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. So anything from you, Rachel? Do you feel like you got everything?
I feel like we got everything. Just
Okay.
appreciative that we're given the time to have this long goodbye and
Yes.
together.
Yes.
And we're not just pulling the plug.
Yeah, exactly. Pulling the plug. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. So listener, stay with us and let us know how you can be a part of this last episode. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. And until then, take care.
Bye.
Bye.